Yo, what's going on, guys? Mike from Mike Talk Sports. Let me tell you guys why, in a hypothetical scenario where Khabib Nurmagomedov and Islam Makhachev in their prime, if they fought in a 5-round championship fight, in my opinion, Islam Makhachev gets the dub. Islam Makhachev would get it done. So in light of the Alexander Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev fight, Islam Makhachev's first title defense ever since taking the title from Charles Olivera, it was a phenomenal fight, and a lot of people are discounting and discrediting Islam Makhachev's skills and saying Khabib is no doubt better than Islam because of this fight, because of how Islam barely won this fight on the judges' scorecards, whereas Khabib Nurmagomedov has never even been to the 5th round of a championship fight. He's finished every single championship fight he's ever been a part of. First off, to dismiss this discrediting of Islam Makhachev, Khabib Nurmagomedov never faced a guy the caliber of Alexander Volkanovski. Look, I completely get it. Alexander Volkanovski is a lifelong 145er, but let's not forget, first off, that Alexander Volkanovski is used to packing on a lot of weight. He weighed over 200 pounds in his rugby days. He's fought at basically every single weight class in his career, except heavyweight and light heavyweight, I think. I think he's won a fight at 185. I know he's won fights at 170 and 155, and obviously 145 is where he found his home in the UFC. But Alexander Volkanovski, he's not your typical 145er. Second off, you look at Khabib Nurmagomedov, and the guy that gave him the most troubles, the guy who took him to the 4th round and did really good in scrambles in the 1st round of their fight, it was a former 145er in Conor McGregor. He definitely did not weigh the same amount of weight Khabib did in the octagon. So kind of using that, Islam Makhachev is a weight bully and he still couldn't finish Alexander Volkanovski, he still couldn't dominate him in the grappling realm. I hate the weight bully excuse. I don't think Khabib was a weight bully. I don't think Islam was a weight bully. Do they have trouble making weight? Yes, they do, but come on, so many guys at 155 do struggle to make weight, and so many guys in the UFC in general struggle to make weight. So looking at this hypothetical scenario with this matchup, Islam Makhachev is 5'10" with a 70-inch reach, and amazingly enough, Khabib Nurmagomedov is also 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. So at the time, if they fought, Khabib would have been around 3 years older. Assuming Khabib and Islam kind of continued their trajectory in terms of fighting, I would assume that Khabib at the time of this fight would have about 5 to 6 more fights than Islam Makhachev under his belt. So he'd be the more experienced fighter in there. He would be the older fighter in there. Going into some of their best opponents, which I think is very important when analyzing who would win in this fight, in my opinion, Khabib's 3 best opponents, Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, and RDA. So looking at that RDA fight, that was before Khabib Nurmagomedov's rise to 155 and really capturing that gold. In that RDA fight, he did okay. He was good in terms of the ground and pound. He really got nothing going in terms of offensive submissions. He did good grappling on the feet. He got RDA down a couple times. It was a slow, grinded out fight. In my opinion, if this fight went 5 rounds, either Khabib would have finished him due to ground and pound in the 5th round, or it would have been to a decision realistically. I think you look at a lot of decisions in Khabib's career and go, if that was a 5-round fight, that probably would have went the distance. So to discredit Islam for having a 5-round fight, I don't really think that's fair. If anything, I think it proves that he has that championship heart. I know he didn't win that 5th round against Alexander Volkanovski, but it's not like he got absolutely dominated in that 5th round. He kind of had a bad last 2 minutes of the fight. So going into Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor for Khabib. So Dustin Poirier, man, he has really good jiu-jitsu. He has really good grappling. We obviously saw Dustin Poirier out-grapple Conor McGregor. I think he's a significantly better offensive grappler than Conor McGregor is. But the thing is about Dustin Poirier, his grappling defense and his grappling IQ defensively, it isn't phenomenal. It isn't horrible, but looking at Dustin Poirier shoot that guillotine on Khabib, in my opinion, kind of proves that he doesn't have the best fight IQ. Pretty stupid decision to do that. So Dustin Poirier, I don't think is the best defensive grappler Khabib's ever fought. You guys are going to kill me in the comment section for having this opinion. In my opinion, Conor McGregor, guys, Conor McGregor coming off of a boxing fight where he just only trained boxing. In my opinion, that Conor McGregor is the best anti-grappler, is the best defensive grappler Khabib ever fought while he was at top of the 155 division. Again, like I said, he took that fight to the 4th round where Khabib finished the fight via neck crank. It wasn't even really a rear naked choke. It was kind of a neck crank, and he had to tap to it, which is why I don't understand why they always say Conor tapped like a chicken. How could he tap? How could he tap? I mean, he was going to get his neck snapped in half. He had to tap. But again, looking at Khabib's record and saying Conor McGregor is the best defensive grappler, Conor McGregor is the guy who survived the longest on the ground with you, not the best for Khabib's record, let's be completely honest. So, again, Conor McGregor being the best defensive grappler Khabib's ever fought, interesting. So, a parallel I'll draw to Conor McGregor and Alexander Volkanovski. Before fighting these Dagestani killers, both guys' best grappler they faced before then was Chad Money Mendez, which is very interesting. But looking at Islam's best opponents, Alexander Volkanovski, Charles Oliveira, and Arman Tsarukyan. So Alexander Volkanovski proved to have really good counter grappling, really good grappling defense. I think he even showcased and previewed why it's not such a bad idea to offensively grapple versus these dominant Dagestani wrestlers. So you look at Charles Oliveira. I love Charles Oliveira. Let's be completely honest. His takedown defense is legitimately horrible. It's non-existent. He doesn't even try to defend takedowns. You look at his Paul Felder fight, you look at his Kevin Lee fight, and you look at his Islam Makhachev fight. He's getting ragdolled on the ground. He's getting ragdolled in offensive wrestling positions. He has really good jiu-jitsu. He has improved offensive wrestling, but his defensive wrestling is absolute garbage. It's garbage. Looking at Arman Tsarukyan, so this is the best preview for Islam versus Khabib. So when Islam faced a fellow wrestler like Arman Tsarukyan, who actually tried to offensively grapple with him, I think Islam proved to be extremely competent in the grappling realm. And this gets to the main point of the video and why I think Islam Makhachev would beat Khabib Nurmagomedov, is because, in my opinion, Islam would not beat Khabib in the grappling realm. I think Khabib is a better grappler than Islam, not only grappling on the feet, but grappling on the ground, jiu-jitsu-wise, obviously just the overall sambo game of wrist control, dominant top position, dominant ground and pound, dominant powerful chokes and joint submissions, Kimuras, all the above. I think Khabib has Islam slightly beat. I think the only thing on the ground you could say Khabib is significantly better at than Islam is the ground and pound and kind of that dominant top position in terms of the ground and pound. Other than that, though, do you guys seriously think watching the Arman Tsarukyan versus Islam Makhachev fight, watching the Islam Makhachev versus Khabib Nurmagomedov training sessions of them grappling with each other, do you really think Khabib would be able to make Islam submit? Do you really think Khabib would finish Islam via ground and pound? In my opinion, the only really path to victory Khabib would even have against Islam Makhachev would be if he finished him via ground and pound in the 4th or 5th round. Looking at that Alexander Volkanovski last minute, I guess it wouldn't necessarily surprise me if Islam was finished via ground and pound versus Khabib. But again, in my opinion, I just think Islam Makhachev is such a great grappler to the point where no grappler can just ragdoll him, dominate him, take him down with ease, and just submit him so quickly. I don't think Khabib would be able to do that, even against Islam Makhachev. If he took Conor McGregor to the 4th round and finally found a neck crank in the 4th round, then I think Islam would be able to survive a 25-minute decision versus Khabib. So getting into the striking aspect of things, guys, I mean, come on, Islam, it's no comparison. Islam is significantly better in terms of striking. Khabib Watching Khabib strike sometimes, look, I understand that he's significantly improved on his striking. I think something that Khabib has to his advantage is his chin. In my opinion, Khabib has a noticeably better chin in just resistance to strikes compared to Islam Makhachev. But Islam Makhachev is a significantly better boxer, significantly better counter boxer. He's better defensively on the feet. Again, I just said Khabib has a better chin. That doesn't mean he's a better defensive striker. I think, again, Islam is harder to hit than Khabib Nurmagomedov is. I think Islam is way better of a kickboxer. That's the one thing about Khabib. Watching his leg kicks are kind of embarrassing. Like, he can't even throw out a kick. His head kicks are non-existent. His kicks to the body don't really happen either. His kicks to the leg don't happen. Islam Makhachev has a legit head kick, a very surprisingly good head kick. Again, if Islam could basically outstrike Alexander Volkanovski, which, look, I completely understand. The threat of the takedown was there, which is why he outstruck Alexander Volkanovski. I think Alexander Volkanovski made the mistake of not really even striking during his training camp and just grappling, whereas it should have probably been 80-20, 70-30 compared to 90-10 or 100% grappling and 0% striking. But again, guys, Islam Makhachev would honestly kind of toy with Khabib on the feet. His boxing is way better. His fundamentals on the feet is way better. He keeps a tight guard, whereas Khabib kind of bobs his head back and forth and could get hit with a big shot. Khabib leaves his legs open for leg kicks and kind of just walks you down and wants to grapple you and dominate you in the grappling realm. So in my opinion, Islam Makhachev would toy with Khabib on the feet. I think he would survive in the grappling realm, and I think realistically he would win via decision, maybe 3 rounds to 2. Khabib is able to take him down and dominate him in 2 of the rounds, ground and pound, look really good. But in my opinion, Islam would be able to get back to his feet, even reverse some position in a couple of scenarios, and really just light up Khabib on the feet and win the fight in that way.